Getting back, had a really good week of practice, got back a lot of fundamental stuff, got some base things worked on I think we need to improve on in all three phases, but at the same time did a little bit of Louisville work. We're game planning real hard. Tomorrow will be a Monday practice. Again, very proud of our team, the way we competed in the game against Notre Dame. I thought it was a tremendous game, tremendous matchup. And I know we've talked about that before, and that kind of game has moved on. We're moving on to Louisville, but looking forward to another Thursday night matchup. Louisville's got a dynamic defense and offense. I mean, they're one of the top defenses in the country. Play the run well, play the pass. Created a lot of turnovers offensively. Got the quarterback back, got Parker back, who's a first-round pick, got Quick. You got Dwyer, so you got first-round picks at all these different places. Got tight end Christensen, who was a big-time recruit coming out of Dwyer, where the year before Nick went to Florida, then went up there. I mean, that guy's a big-time player, the offensive line. They kick the ball well, so I mean, they have a very, very good football team. And they've had 2 losses by very close, by less than a touchdown in each game, 2 points in one, I believe 5 in the other. And they'll be ready to play, and hopefully we'll be ready to play. That'll be another great matchup within the ACC. So, thank you for that. Questions?
Jimbo, there was a report that Carlos was getting suspended. I mean, do you have any?
No, there's another false report. And it's amazing how things happen out here. And whoever's got sources, whoever's got rumors, need to check who they're talking to, because that is about as far from the truth as there is. It's amazing, isn't it?
Is there a way to kind of emulate the temperature of the game time in Louisville? Because I know it's going to be like in the 40s.
Well, if you couldn't emulate it from the Notre Dame game, we've been in some. But it'll be a different one because it'll be on the road. I mean, it'll be a very hostile environment, it'll be a very tough environment, and you know, Louisville will be ready. So I mean, you can't ever simulate game action. You just try to put pressure on your kids and practice as much as you can. So it'll be tough.
How's Mario Pender coming along with the ankle? Do you think?
Okay, I think he'll still be questionable for this game. I think he's healing very well, but you know, those high ankles sometimes can be very tough.
Yeah.
With Louisville's, like we talked about a little bit yesterday, they struggle with protecting the passer. Does that, as a coach, do you maybe blitz more, or do you rely on your front four to get more pressure if you see a team struggles?
Well, I think you got to study why. I mean, you got to look and see how the pressures have gotten there and why the pressures have gotten there. But also, how do you expose yourself when you're trying to pressure other things that go on, you know, and look at, you know, there's a give and take to all those situations. So that'll have to be in a game plan mode that we'll be working on the next couple of days really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Are you happy with where your pass rush is at this point in the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're doing some nice things. I mean, you always want better pass rush. You always want to stop the run better. You always want to get more interceptions. But I think some of our young guys are really developing, and we've got a lot of young players out there on that edge that are coming. So, you know, I thought we affected the quarterback very well in the last game. I think we had 10 batted balls, had some sacks. You know, and it's not always sacks. You always look at sacks, but how many times you hit the quarterback, how many times you affect him, how you make him move off the spot. Thought we did a really nice job of that in the second half of the Notre Dame game.
You mentioned the younger defense men. How much is just having that depth, those extra guys to rotate in?
Well, reps, critical. And then their abilities. Not only their depth, but then they have very unique abilities in themselves.
Louisville seems to be off to a pretty strong start in the ACC, and I know a lot of other teams have struggled when changing conferences. You know, West Virginia, TCU going to the Big 12. Why do you think, you know, they've been able to maybe do a better job transitioning? And I think they're 6-2.
They got good players. I mean, they've recruited well, had a good program. Some of those other programs, when they had that year of transition, we might not have been in a, you know, might have been in a downswing of recruiting or something of that nature. This group is, Charlie and them have recruited very well there, as you can see, for a long period of time. So they've got very good players, and of course they've got a very good staff to coach them.
I know everything.
Does James play better on the road? It seems like his 300-yard games come on the road a lot.
I think you got to be careful looking at numbers. I thought the game he played the other night was pretty spectacular, you know, and I think numbers. Peyton Manning didn't have a 300-yard game last night, but I think he played pretty spectacular too. So what I'm saying is, you get caught in 300-yard games. No, I don't look at numbers of yards. It's the efficiency of what you did, the decisions you made, and what you did with your team, whether it was run or pass, to play well.
I know everything is kind of cyclical. Right now, you guys and Clemson are at the top of the Atlantic, but do you see Louisville as a new potential rivalry in this division as far as going for
Louisville, for the history of them, what they've done in their past, have great history, great tradition, good players. I mean, they had 3 first-round draft picks last year. You forget that. I mean, they got a bunch of really good players now, so they are a definite force in our league. There's no doubt. They're a great addition.
Jimbo, what does having Parker back for them and wide receiver do? I mean, they were doing that well offensively, but now they've got their best player back.
Well, I mean, just like us, when another receiver emerges, takes pressure off the other guys, what you do, and if you match up one-on-one here, you get the one-on-one here, it just adds another dimension to what they do and opens up the field a lot more.
Can that be kind of difficult to scout their tendencies when they get such a key part of the offense back like that?
Well, yeah, it can, but, you know, you can also look at things that you know, Coach Petrino's done in the past, and also look at things that that kid is capable of, and, you know, they won't go way off of grid of what they've done in the past. They'll have some additions and wrinkles, and there's no doubt.
They rank number 1 in total defense. What is it that specifically they do so well on defense?
I think they tackle well. I think the first thing that jumps out to me, they tackle extremely well. They get great leverage on the ball, and they tackle well. And then they've done a good job of pressuring the quarterback, mixing things up, mixing coverages, and they play the run. Their inside guys are very physical in the run. They're long and outside. They create good pass rush and length and get passing lanes, and they cover well, and they create turnovers. So, I mean, and then again, too, it's like what goes with great offense and great defense is when the other side of the ball starts playing well, it keeps the other team off the field, or it gets it back for you when you're on offense. So they're doing both.
You guys have the bye, but generally on a Thursday night road game, what are some of the tough things you have to deal with on a Thursday night road game?
I mean, I just think it's no different than you do on any other game, except that it's during the midweek, and it changes your routine. That's why we try to get the routine back to a normal game week like you do on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and how we practice it. They're like Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, and we'll travel on, you know, like we do on Tuesday night, just like we would on a Thursday, like we always do. We try to keep in that routine. And usually those environments are very good because for students and things, it's the only thing in town. You know, everybody kind of rallies around that on a Thursday night, and it creates a great atmosphere for the home team.
Is it difficult trying to keep that routine among your players when the days are a little shifted?
Not really, once they get into it, because I got to check this out. If it wasn't for Saturdays on game days, I'd get lost in what day it was too half the time. I mean, because you get in such a cocoon about what you're doing, you know, especially it's like you're doing during camp, you know. But they'll adjust.
Can you pinpoint why you guys have been so effective in the red zone this year?
I think we work at it. We have a philosophy on it, and you know, people say, well, you haven't ran the ball. We run the ball in the red zone. There's 4 times you got to run the ball. You got to be able to run it short yardage, goal line, red zone, last 4 minutes of the game. We have done that all year except for last time in 4 minutes at the end of the game. All the other games we ran it out. So we're effective, and we keep great balance. And then I think we got very good players, and we get the ball to our playmakers.
Especially with Carlos's 2 touchdowns against Notre Dame, how much of it down there deals with attitude?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, it's a fit. In the red zone, things are going to happen tighter, faster, quicker. You're going to have to break tackles. You're going to have to block 2 people. You're going to have to jump over somebody. Things just are confined, and you got to learn to play in those areas. And we spend a lot of time in practice working on red zone and third down situations.
Tom D'Angelo, you want to go?
Yes. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Tom. How you doing, buddy?
Okay. Jimbo, Trey Jackson.
Yes.
3, I guess, players, linemen of the week. How's he been playing? What has he been doing good?
I mean, just so consistent, Tom. I mean, he's a run blocker and a pass blocker, and he knows what's going on, helping those guys up front in calls and situations. And, you know, he is a very wide body, but he's such good balance and body control, and he has good hip action. He can roll and move people, and, you know, and he's a smart guy. So, I mean, he's just been playing excellent football. He really has.
Because you have a little bit, are they better defensively at the run? The numbers are so good, both. I guess they're a little better at run defense. Does one stand out to the other?
No, I think they both do. And I think that, you know, you're always going to have less numbers than you are in the pass because people are going to throw it more, and the plays you make in the passing game are always going to be generally bigger plays than you would in the running game. But, you know, I think they're equally, because they've created the turnovers and interceptions in the passing game. I think they play them both extremely well.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jason Staples.
Hey, Coach. Quick couple questions about the secondary. First is it seems like this year there's been a few more communication problems. I mean, obviously it's a different secondary, a little less experienced than last year, but you know, going back to like the first half of the Syracuse game and some of those things, there have been some times where on switch routes and rub routes and so on, it looked like there's been some miscommunication. What's really going on there? What's the cause of some of those?
Yeah, we've had a couple. Just probably about the same amount as last year. Last year, sometimes we had, actually I think we've had more last year than we did this year. Sometimes a pass rush or somebody else would make a play and you wouldn't notice it because the ball might not get thrown. But it's no more than we've ever had. It may even be less, to be actually truthful with you. Because at the beginning of last year, we had tons of those with the young guys.
Yeah, the next question is that and that does make some sense, obviously. The next question is, the next question is, are you guys reading? Are you guys pattern matching at the same, basically the same way as last year, or
yes,
or a little bit more, or
no, but exactly the same way. Exactly the same way. And you also got to remember too. Now you had a middle linebacker in there that was pretty daggone good that made a lot of those things too. Those middle linebackers and those nickels and dime guys in there are just as important as the corners and safeties and all that pattern match stuff. Usually more so because they're all the underneath guys, and they do a really good. You had some experienced guys in that match of it too. But we're doing exactly the same thing.
Okay, thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
How is Jalen Ramsey coming along at the nickel spot?
Getting better and better. Really starting to learn how to rush the passer in different ways. Whether he gets blocked, we can dip. Coverage-wise, tackle-wise, I mean, he's really emerging as a really dominant player there to me.
You did so well at safety last year, but just how different is it to...
Totally different. I mean, you're the second-level defender to a third-level defender. Things are going to happen faster, quicker. Your reaction times, what you're being asked to do, you're being blocked by bigger guys, sometimes by linemen or backs. I mean, there's a whole different dynamic that playing at that second level to that third level.
And so it's just kind of a matter of him getting used to it.
It's getting used to it. And Joyner did. Joyner had, people don't realize, Joyner had a lot of mistakes in there too. He would just run by you and then turn around and catch you. He'd just circle back and make the play, but he had plenty of mistakes in there too early when he was doing that.
Does that position change at all based on who's playing it?
Oh, no doubt. I mean, all positions do, based on how much man you play, how much zone you play, the type of receiver you play, based off their individual abilities.
Tim, you've had quite a few of these road Thursday night games in your career. How much of it is the issue where teams don't play that well just because of your routine is thrown off?
I think that's part of it, and I think that's why we work all the time to put them in a routine, like a normal routine. And two is to let guys understand things are always, and that's why your program and your adversity and the things you do in practice and how you challenge guys and things you do to challenge and get them out of their routine. We'll get them out of a routine in practice and two-a-days and different things. All right, no, listen, things are going to change. You have to adapt to that, and that's part of some things we do in the off season and in our camp structure to try to simulate different things like that. So, like I say, it doesn't matter when this is the time for the game. This is when I got to play. But it is a challenge and part of our coaching that we have to work on.
Coach, do you think you have to switch up offensive play calls because their defense is numbers-wise good? I think you have to switch things up this week.
I mean, against them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're always doing that, self-scouting yourself. I mean, I spend as much time self-scouting ourselves as we do the opponent. Because you want to know, what are they looking at? You got to know what you're looking at because that's how they're going to defend it. So I spend every bit as much time, first thing I get on Sunday mornings and Sunday afternoon when I come in, by 6 o'clock, I want self-scout done. Down the distance, field position, all that. I want the picture so I can look at to know we're going into that game, what tendencies we have, what we don't have. And I'm going to say this, if you don't have tendencies, you're not a very good team. All great teams have tendencies. That's what they do when it matters. Because it's about, a lot of times, what you do, not what they do. We overestimate that a lot. But then when you break them good.
Coach, back to Jalen Ramsey in the star position. Is it easy for him to think that he has to be over-aggressive because of the speed at the line of scrimmage? How much of it is about being patient and actually just playing the assignment?
Both. You're exactly right. You can be too passive or you can be too aggressive. I mean, it's just like anything else. Anybody watch the game last night with Denver? What did you hear him say about Von Miller? Do you remember the comment they made about Von Miller in the game, or y'all just watching and listening?
I was watching Miami because you're not there.
I watched it too. Can't you flip back and forth?
I'm the ACC guy. I thought I'd follow my job.
But my point was, they said Von Miller all of a sudden this year has figured out how to rush the passer and play in space. And they said something just clicked. I don't know if you heard it last night. They said something just clicked for him. Now he can stand up and drop, he can rush, and he's making plays in both worlds, and it clicked for him. And that's part of playing at that level. When I blitz, how do I blitz? How do I get there? How they're blocking me? How do I get there? All of a sudden it's coverage. And I mean, it's just like anything you do in your job. You got to figure out when it clicks that I know my routine. I know how to get this done, that done, this done, that done. You know what I'm saying? And that's all part of these guys. Just like Jason was saying. Yeah, there's going to be miscues. But there was tons of them last year, just as many or maybe more. And sometimes they get hidden, sometimes you see them, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're more obvious. You know what I mean? But it's like I say, sometimes we'll come in and win a game by 30 and you wonder why I'm mad. Or we'll win a game by 2 and I'm happy. You can play well and win by 2, or play poorly and win by 30. You know what I mean? Because of all the mistakes that happen. And I think all of that is just, you know, it takes time to learn how to play a position. It takes time to how to coach. It takes time to how to be a reporter. It takes time to how to investigate, how to write a story. I mean, you guys learn daily, I hope. I mean, right? You say, coaches, you want us? I mean, do y'all learn daily? Do you get better every day? Or do you study your craft? You're concerned. I don't know. Are you doing anything? You doing any self-scouting? Huh? You self-scout yourself? No, but I mean, it is. But it's a feel of give and take. When to be patient. You know, that's an art of. To me, that's the part of sports that I think sometimes we get frustrated with players. Well, he's got all this ability. He can jump. He can run. He's big. He's fast. He should be doing this. Well, wait a minute now. He's got to apply it, and not only apply it, he's got to apply it by down and distance, by field position, by time in the game, by what he's asked to. You know, all that is part of growing as a player and what goes on. And there's a lot of things you ask Jalen to do there. There's a multiplicity of things that take time to figure out.
Coach, now that we've reached the midpoint of the season, how would you grade this team so far?
I don't. I just keep getting better. I don't worry about it. I don't try to grade. I don't ever look in that regard, ever.
Speaking of last night's game, what do you think of Miami? How'd they look?
At times, I thought that in the first half, they jumped off, ran the ball extremely well. Duke was dynamic and made some plays. Defensively, they did good. And in the second half, I saw some of that. I mean, Virginia Tech moved the ball really well and got down there and just, you know, had some turnovers. So, but I think Miami's a team that's really improving every week and a very talented team. Very talented team.
When you said yesterday that
I think this, I'm going to say this, we're in the toughest part of our schedule. Everybody said these last 5 games, to me, will be the toughest part of our schedule, bar none.
Why is that?
I think we're playing some of the best teams. I think these teams are all getting better. I think Louisville is a very good team. Virginia, you watch Virginia on film, very good on defense, big playmakers out wide of offense, running the ball, quarterback's doing a good job, big line, doing a good job. Miami's getting better and better every week, got very dynamic players, getting guys healthy, getting them back on the field. Boston College is playing well. And then Florida, at the end of the game, is a rivalry game, and I know Will's a good coach. He'll have them playing good by the time we play. I think this will be the stretch part of our schedule.
Going off what you were saying yesterday about you and Bobby's offense being somewhat similar, does that help in any way trying to defend
I don't know if
them?
it's similar, but I mean, have a lot of different concepts.
Yeah. But does that help at all when you try to defend them, or that oversimplifying everything?
No, I mean, I think the looks you get sometimes in practice, at least now you can, if you go good on good, when you go good on good, sometimes you go good on good, and what you do and what the defense does, but what you're going against is, it's not going to help you in the game as far as the scheme, but at least you're getting to practice all week against a fastball look. Well, sometimes now you can conceptually get similar type things. So I think it can help your team.
Have you, or will you show them footage of 2002 just to kind of motivate them a little bit?
I don't know if there's any 2002 footage around here. That's a long time ago. There may be, there may not be. No. That has nothing. That has no bearing on what we're doing or anything else.
Yeah, I'm sure you saw that game. What did you?
I remember the rain. I was off and on. I was at LSU at the time. I can remember the rainstorm. You know, that's all I remember from that game, and it went to overtime. I mean, that's what I remember. And then when you get to weather like that, man, anything can happen. I mean, the ball is slippery. I mean, guy could slip, guy can fall on offense, defense, ball come out of your hand, or vice versa. I mean, it's detrimental. Sometimes that's survival of the fittest.
Have you coached at Louisville before?
No, I've never been to Louisville. Almost everybody on our staff has, but I never have.
What are they kind of feedback giving you about how difficult it is to play?
Very tough. I mean, first of all, I said it's a good team, and they played there. But they'll have a good crowd, and be hostile, and be a tough place to play.
Ever part of a game where the goalpost came down?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we have. I'm trying to think when. Gosh, yeah. There's some games at LSU when we first got there. We upset Tennessee. It was top 10. We upset Mississippi State that first year. Both of us were top 10 teams. Late in the year that we did, and they hadn't won in a while, and they tore them down then, I think. And I would say that's probably it.
You've coached against Petrino a few times.
In the
What
SEC.
do you take from those matchups?
I mean, very, very diligent about what he does, knows what he wants to do. Just has a plan for what he's going to do, and you're going to have to be balanced. He's going to run the ball, going to throw it, going to play action you. I mean, he's going to make you play all parts of the field. He can screen you. I mean, he'll do all the different things.
And having a bye week, so you know they're going to throw some things at you.
Exactly right. They'll be ready.
Their running back Dyer's a guy who's been around for a long time. Just kind of what does he do well? I think he had like 180 yards last week.
Big, strong, fast, hard to tackle, breaks tackles, and then once he gets in space, can finish runs.
You ever look at the ACC and say there's some pretty accomplished offensive minds here, you two, and then Cutcliffe as well?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot of really good coaches in this league. I mean, there really are, and good teams. I mean, I know, again, the league is a very good league in my opinion.
How does the Notre Dame game, coming off a win like that, prepare you for a defense like this coming?
I'm not prepared you for a defense like this, but I mean, the multiplicity of blitzes and looks and different things they did, which this defense will do, being able to adapt and make those adjustments and the confidence that you can do it against a very quality opponent, I think you take a lot from that.
I haven't heard about a leg weight in a while. Is he still?
Nah, his legs still bother a little bit. Some of the things, not just the injury, but just the supporting cast, as I say, around the other muscles and not feeling up to 100%.
Darby said he hasn't allowed a touchdown since his freshman year. How?
Is that right?
Yeah. I don't know if that's true. That's what
I hope
he
he
said.
keeps that up.
How? I don't want to say great that accomplishment is, but how difficult is it to play cornerback in 2014 with a lot of?
You're going to, and you have to have a short memory. You're going to get beat. You got to get back up, and you got to go play again. You know what I mean? I mean that's all part of it, and that's why you're out there on that island. That's a tough place to be.
What about with the penalties too? I don't know if it's this much in college, but NFL, there's a lot of illegal contact calls now. Do you have to coach them any different about?
College is so much different than pro ball. I mean, and in pro ball, I mean, they don't allow it, and that's why that's the big adjustment for these guys getting up there. And I mean, sometimes, as a craziness, I think there's a little bit too much contact sometimes in college. I think there needs to be a happy medium somewhere in between. I really do. But
speaking like a true offensive coach.
No, I just don't think. Not about that, and I know it's points, but just, and I think because I think the rules make it very tough for officials to call things. I think it makes it very difficult on them down the field on how things are called. You know what I mean? I think NFL, the way the rules are, clears it up for them and makes it easier for them to make calls. You know what I mean? I don't say that from my perspective. I mean, just how it can be interpreted so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what makes it tough. It's a hard call for those guys.
With Oligwe, it seemed like that kind of injury is one that we almost never really heard of before a couple of years ago. Now it seems like it's really common with like the foot and that sort of thing.
Well, wait a minute. See, when I was at LSU, Matt Mock had that. That cost us. We were 6-1 and about 8th in the country and really playing well. And he got one. We just defeated Florida down there like 37-10 or 30. I don't know, something. We beat them down there pretty good and played a game, and we were really rolling. And he got one in the last 10 minutes of the game. That was back in 2002. And that's then the next year we come back and win the national championship. But and actually ended up helping him be a better passer because he was a runner, and the whole spring he practiced, but he wasn't allowed to run. He had to sit in the pocket, and he really developed his passing game. And I mean, he became an NFL guy, but that was back. That's the first time I'd heard of it. But Damian Craig had one when he was at, if I'm not mistaken, when he was at the Carolina Panthers, when he was back there. That's the first time I'd ever heard of him, like late 90s, early 2000s, the first time I'd ever heard of that.
Was the key then for Mock just to kind of stay off of it and let it heal? It
was, and you had to let that bone because it's such such a delicate thing in there.
Looks like DeMarcus and Lorenzo flipped on the depth chart. Any reason behind that?
If you look at the number of plays, one plays 38 plays, one plays 36 or 35. It doesn't matter who. I say it matters who starts, but it doesn't matter because they're all going to play equal roles and play what their game plan is.
Coach, especially after how well he played in the second half last week, does it bother you that the reigning Heisman Trophy winner isn't in everyone's Heisman conversation right now?
Heisman Trophy, that has no bearing on our football team. That doesn't him either.
Do you remember what it was like scouting that Dwyer team when you said they had O'Leary and Christian? Is that right?
Yeah, and Elam, all those guys. They were all on that. They all come out of Dwyer at that time. Yeah, they were real good. Had a lot of players we wanted.
Did they use the two tight ends at the same time? Or?
At times they did, yeah.
And Brissett.
They had Brissett, and I mean, they had a bunch of other guys. I mean, you go back to I can't think of all of them right now, but I mean, it wasn't just them. There was a ton of Division I players for about 3 or 4 years, and they still have them. I mean, they were really good, really good.
Is that rare for two elite tight ends to be so close together? A lot of times you might see a school have 3 great running backs, but tight ends seems to be different.
But I mean, look at last year when you had Dalvin Cook and Jacoby. I mean, at
Yerby.
Yeah, you're down in Miami. I mean, sometimes it happens. I mean, and go back to Rashad Green. Who was the other receiver with Rashad Green in high school?
Dorsett.
No, Philip Dorsett. The guy at Miami. 4 of the guys making all the big plays and running. I mean, they were both there on the same team at the same time. I mean, it happens.
It seems a little more uncommon for tight ends, though. Or maybe those skill position, those
I guess, I'd have to think about it, but you're probably right. You're probably right. I think about it. But tight ends, tight ends are becoming more of a factor today than they have been, I think, in the past. So I think you get more of those body type guys playing now, so you'll probably see it more, but you're right, probably so. Just, but people used to always, because everybody wants to spread and throw all the wide outs and skill guys in there.
When we asked about Carlos, right, to start things off, it almost sounded like you were a little bit exasperated. Does it feel like there's just always something that comes
No,
up?
I mean, it's just funny how, and that guy who's a tremendous kid and tremendous, I mean, I don't even know where that would come from. I mean, it kind of caught me off guard, like, whoa. No, I mean, I don't have no problem about that. It was just, no, Carlos has been wonderful.
Had somebody brought it to your attention before you got here?
No. You said it was on what?
There was a report out there.
Well, you think about what you just said.
This report.
No. What did you say?
Well, it's on Twitter, but it was somebody sort of.
With Twitter, but what I'm saying is, I mean, I can't turn Twitter on. I can't hit the button on my. I hate to admit this. I can email back, but somebody's got to show me the button on my phone to hit to get a return. If I ever want to return it, I don't return email. I mean, I can't even hit the button to return one. I did a little texting. I can text when I have to, and take a call and get a message. But other than that, y'all on your own. I don't get into all that now, because I ain't reading all that stuff.
There's no official Jimbo Fisher Twitter page? At least you're not running it?
If there is, it ain't me. Anything ever goes on technologically that says I said do something, tell them they're a liar, because I can't even turn it on, so.
Thanks, Coach.
That's a fact. Am I wrong, Curly? That's a fact. I can never be accused of that. No offense, I can't figure it out yet.